Dear members, and especially our visitors and guests, please note the following important announcement. By attending the remote Zoom meeting event, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims or invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Zoom Master, please start the recording. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Gerda Felix, your Sergeant at Arms of the meeting. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club of experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we can all immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Toastmaster Cusin. In a world where most people join one Toastmasters club, one woman dared to join 3 across from 2 continents, 3 districts, 5 pathways. Today, on Zoom, Cusin, Toastmaster of the day. Not recommended for under 6, popcorn not included. But in all seriousness, Cusin is the living definition of today's theme: action-driven leadership. Originally from a Franco-Swiss and Indo-Bangladeshi background, Marie has been a Toastmaster since 2016, and she has never once stood still. She didn't just join clubs, she co-founded one, Impact Lausanne, and served as its VP of Education. In her personal life, She manages the entire ecosystem of a medical practice in Switzerland, specializing in agile organization and digital transformation. She brings that same relentless systems thinking to everything she touches in Toastmasters. She has held nearly every executive role a club can offer. She served as area director for District 109. In 2024, she led public relations for the International Summit of French-speaking speakers. She has completed 3 pathways, with 2 more in progress, and is on the final stretch toward her Distinguished Toastmaster, the highest distinction Toastmasters Awards. Action-driven leadership isn't Marie's theme for today. It's her operating system. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome your Toastmaster of the day, Marie Cusin.
Thank you so much for your introduction, Gerda. Indeed, I will be your Toastmaster of the day today. On this meeting, themes is particularly close to my heart, action-driven leadership. Because right now, you and I are encountering more and more from different countries who are not just talking about change, but actually made it happen. Especially with leadership speak, where there are over 30 different nationalities, I am training my ear to understand various accents. Here is a tip. To better understand speakers on Zoom, you can activate the automatic English subtitles at the bottom of your screen. Getting my ears used to a wide variety of accents also benefits me in my work in the medical field in Lausanne, Switzerland, because it's helped me better understand foreign language speakers speaking French. Yes, exactly. The French we learn in Toastmaster must be applied, must be act upon outside of Toastmasters. So, are you ready to take action and listen to leaders from around the world? First of all, thank you to our greeter, Nelly Jane Galido, who welcome you today. In our club, we have 2 main parts of Toastmaster meeting, prepared speeches and evaluations. We will have 3 speakers evaluated by evaluators applying critical thinking, a skill specific to advanced clubs, to enrich the perspective on each speaker's message. They all come from all around the world, each one here to fulfill their leadership potential. A toast will be presented about our team, action-driven leadership, and our educational speaker, Aminata Keita, will develop it with our keynote, Stop Planning, Start Leading, a title that could not be more aligned with today's spirit. Evaluating all our participants is a hallmark of our clubs, of our club, because it broadens the range of our viewpoints. Within our club, this is action. Excuse me. Within our club, this is action ready team will maintain smooth cohesion through to the meeting, including our timer Waiga Gishinga and our grammarian Gilda Schla. And finally, we will close with the thought of the day. Leaders don't wait, they fulfill their vision through action. So now let's introduce our toast. She's an enthusiastic learner who's eager to learn and grow as a leader. She's an environmentalist with interest in plastics waste management. She believes that self-directed leaders are those who are not shy to take action and remain accountable as they grow with their teams. The floor is yours, Nocawe.
A warm greeting, fellow Toastmasters and our honored guests. Your presence is acknowledged and truly appreciated. At Leadership Speak, we are empowered to become action-oriented leaders. I stand before you to remind us of one simple truth. Leadership is not about brilliant ideas, but taking action. There are many leaders with brilliant ideas, powerful visions, even abundant resources. But without action, all amounts to nothing. I learned that firsthand. I was faced with an emergency situation at work, and I needed to get clarity from our legal service department. But time was not on my side. I had to make a decision to follow protocol or to take responsibility. I decided to act. Yes, I broke the protocol, but the environment was protected from further degradation. I made that decision accountably, responsibly, and of course, with the environment at heart. I owned my decision. Leaders are defined not by perfect conditions to act, but to act when it matters the most. They are decisive and courageous, and they take responsibility of their action. I challenge you to reflect. Where are you standing without taking action in your life? When will you decide to act? Remember, action, no matter how small, it creates movement creates change. I believe your classes are charged. I kindly request that you open your videos, unmute your microphones, and raise your classes. Here is to action-driven leadership.
To action-driven leadership.
Action-driven leadership.
I thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Nocawe. Effectively, plastic is not fantastic. It is a song in my French country. So I couldn't handle this meeting without my team. And now we will let's welcome our timer, Waiga Gishinga, working out the plans on not getting stuck perfecting time. Over to you, Wainga.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good day, Toastmasters and guests. I'll be the timer for today's meeting. I'm going to time each speaker according to the agenda, and I will signal timing using the green card, yellow, and the red. And when I finish a session, I'm going to post the timing on the charts. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Wainga. And now, let's hear from our grammarian, Gilda Schla. She said, discipline leaders are action-driven individuals. Take it away, Gilda Schla.
Toastmaster of the day, and hello, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. As a grammarian, I am responsible to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their English usage, as well as listening to outstanding phrases, quotes, and thoughts. As a grammarian, also, it's my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. And the word of the day for this meeting is fulfill. It means to bring to completion or reality, to achieve something desired, promised, or to carry out tasks as required. Example in a sentence for the word fulfill. He worked late to fulfill his promise to the team. I encourage every speaker to use the word of the day in their speeches. I will also post the word of the day in the chat box. And I will give my report to the general evaluator when I'm asked for it. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Gilda Schla. A special mention to our guests. I am pleased to acknowledge your valued guests. Your presence enriches our experience. Nelly will share the guest book link in the chat. Please take a moment to sign in. We look forward to learning about you and answering any questions about our Advanced Club. Let's connect after the meeting. So now let's invite to the virtual stage our educational speaker. At every meeting, we have an educational speaker who speaks for 28 to 22 minutes. So let's spotlight our evaluator, Pulkit Gupta. Thank you, Zoom Master Lydia Vanya-Q, to do that. Our evaluator, is it here? I don't see.
Yes, Mary, I'm here. I'm Pulkit. I will be the evaluator for the educational speaker. So I will be evaluating the speaker as per the educational manual. So no specifics there. But yes, Mary. I mean, no specifics on the evaluation. I will be evaluating as per the general guidelines of an educational speech.
Thank you very much, Pulkit Gupta. So, her educational speaker is Aminata Keita, a leadership and communication expert working with the World Health Organization in Guinea on issues of ethics and protection. A two-time distinguished Toastmaster and former district director and region advisor, she has supported leaders across multiple regions and inspired many through a practical and action-oriented approach to leadership. Today, she challenges us to move from intention to execution with her speech. Stop planning, start leading. Stop planning, start leading. Aminata Keita.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marie. and good day to all our guests. I'm trying to share my screen as I start my speech. Thank you very much for the authorization. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here before you today to talk about this very, very important theme, action-driven leadership. Please, I'm going to start by asking you a very simple question, a very simple one. So get ready and find a little button that raises hands. I'll ask you, please, to raise your hand if you currently have a clear plan or a strategy or something important in your life or on your work you would like to work on at this very time, at this very stage. Please raise your hand. I want to see. Okay. Many of us. Yes. So now, keep your hand up if you are fully executing that plan today or right now. Keep your hands up. Are you working on it? Very good. Many of us have planned and we are working on it, right? So that moment right there, that hesitation sometime, that gap, that is exactly what we are talking about today. Many of us are working on plans, but are we fulfilling anything? Leadership is not tested with plans. Leadership is tested only when we act. So because leadership is not defined by our intention, us wanting to do something is an intention. Sometimes it's a vision, it's a plan. No, the leadership is fortunately defined by execution. So by action, when we do something, when we act, when we move towards the realization of our goal in the expectation of fulfilling it, then yes, we are expressing our action-driven leadership. Today, I want to take you on a very practical journey. We will explore why we get stuck in planning. Why do we spend so much time planning and thinking about what we want to do? We will explore what action-driven leadership really looks like. What does it mean? And finally, how each of us can start leading through action today, now, and immediately. Let's begin with something we all experience. When you look at this screen, on one side, you have everything that feels productive, right? You have the vision, you have your strategy, you have your various meetings that you do every day, every time, and you also have your ideas. Sometimes we often even have beautiful PowerPoint presentations, right, nowadays. So on the other side of the screen, you have actions, you have follow-throughs, you have results, and you also have your momentum. Yes, that moment that makes you feel that you have done it, you have fulfilled it. And in between those two sides, what do we have? We have a gap. Yes, we have some type of breaking gap. Because many leaders live there. It's a silent gap. It's a dangerous gap. Why? Because most of us do not know that we actually are in that place. So it's very dangerous because it keeps us behind. And I would like to take you back to my Toastmaster experience that I used to tell you about, right? When I was a new Toastmasters, I was very committed. I would show up early. I would help set up. I would stay after the meeting. I was really, really enthusiastic. I was, accepting roles even before people asked me to do so. And that time was that was actually the time I was in the gap, because yes, I was present. I was present, but I did not dare actually to move ahead of that. And slowly, I started taking on roles. I started standing ahead of things, being on top of responsibilities, and people started noticing me. And when they started noticing me, seeing that I'm always at the task, doing things, what happened? They started trusting me. Yes. Not because of what I kept saying, but because of what they saw me do. So action is key. So let me now ask you another question. Think about one goal, one responsibility you currently have right now. Where are you about it? Right? Are you still planning, or are you now executing? For how long have you been executing? It's important to keep moving. So awareness alone is powerful. Knowing that I have been sitting or standing there thinking about my plan is standoff instead of moving towards action, that's awareness. And that's already powerful, because what will happen, it will get me on the move. It will get me starting towards the destination I want to move to. So let's talk about the first pillar I announced. The first pillar is decide and prioritize. Today, what will get you move? Decide and prioritize. Because clarity beats speed, of course. If your goal is clear to you, it beats speed. Going fast is not actually the solution. Many leaders are not stuck because they lack ideas, including myself. We have so many ideas, right? They are stuck because they have too many ideas. In my professional work, especially in complex environment where I work now, there is always pressure, multiple emergencies, limited resources, high expectations. Yes, public health is not easy, right? Especially when we have pandemics or health issues across the globe. If I try to respond to everything, I end up executing nothing. So I learned to ask myself in two simple questions. What truly matters right now? Like at this very time I'm speaking, what matters to me? And it will create impact if I act on it today. So that is where leadership begins. Not in doing everything, but in deciding what matters most. And in that, we need to learn how to say some elegant no's sometimes. Everything cannot be yes. Only those that matters with my plan matter at that time, and we need to know it. So now, how many other things are competing for that same time and energy? Action-driven leadership do not wait for perfect clarity. They decide and they move. That's how action-driven leaders act. They decide and they move. If they have to say no, they will find a right and elegant way of saying no, but they keep the focus on what they are doing. The second pillar is lead by visible behavior. What do you do? And before I even go faster on this slide, I really would like to remind of a leader that inspires me a lot in this. This is our President, Holmes. He is always on top of everything he does, always helping, assisting, doing. So because we see him do, we also want to do. Leading by example. So because your team is not listening to what you say, they are watching to what you do. You may keep speaking for the whole day. They need to see what you're doing. You can give the best speech on discipline, but if you miss your own deadlines, your team learns something else, for sure. You can talk about accountability, but if you avoid responsibility, your team notices it. And as I grew in leadership from club level to district to region, I discovered powerful truth. People do not follow titles. They follow behaviors. Yes. People forget some leaders because of their behavior. When you keep the right leadership behavior, even if you don't have that title anymore, people will still respect you. They still love you. They still follow your example. People follow consistency. They follow reliability. They follow presence, showing up on time, staying calm under pressure. These are not big dramatic actions, but they are the foundation of trust. Leadership needs trust. So let me ask you something very honestly again. If your team copied your behavior exactly, would you be proud of the results? Yeah, that's introspection to yourself. I don't need an answer for this. If they followed your behavior seriously between you and yourself, would you be proud? That question is not always comfortable, I know, but it is necessary. The response that only you know will help you change your behavior, adapt your behavior to what you want to see. So leadership is not always visible, I know. Whether we intended or not, what we do is visible. So let's work on that. Now, the third pillar, and this one is critical. Follow through. Every commitment you keep builds trust. Every commitment you break erodes it. Of course. Yeah, it happens to all of us. We are not always proud of it, but we need to change and adapt to the right thing. In my own journey, again, credibility was not built in big moments. No, it was built in small, consistent actions. Yes, when people think, oh, this lady, she's always happy, always ready to serve. Small things, right? It was built in small, consistent action all the time, doing what I said I would do. And if I couldn't do it, stepping forward and honestly telling people, I'm sorry, I will not be able to do it. Completing tasks, supporting people, delivering results again and again and again, fulfilling what we said we would do. And one day, people stopped questioning my reliability. Yeah, they stopped trusting me in Toastmasters. I'm still into that. I must keep it going. So that is leadership. So let's make this practical. Think about one commitment you made recently. That is still pending. That commitment that is still pending. When exactly will you complete it? That's a question for you and yourself. When are you going to complete that commitment? Are you writing a book? Like me? Are you writing? Are you planning anything for your social organization, for your family? So when is that going to come to reality? Don't wait for perfection, right? Go into action. Now, what happens when leaders actually act? Everything changes. Teams gain confidence. When they act, momentum builds, performance improves, and culture shifts. Yes, you get to excellence, actually. What culture you want. I have seen teams perform completely, not because of new strategies, but because the leader changed behavior. The leader started deciding faster, think consistently, following through. Yes, following through. If you don't follow through, you don't follow up on what you initiated, people will forget. All your followers, they will forget about it and go back to their businesses. Yes, everyone else will go back to their own businesses. So because action is contagious. If you start acting, other people will act with you. If you show excellence, people will feel like demonstrating excellence for you and with you. So let me bring us back to where we started. Many of us have plans. Yes, we have ideas, we have visions, we have beautiful plans, clear strategies, powerful ideas, right? But leadership does not begin with planning again. It begins with action. And this right here is where we practice that. Like Mary is practicing Toastmaster of the day. She wants to be excellent. Yeah, she's not going to say, no, my French is better than my English. No, she just jumps into it. We don't care if anybody thinks that the French accent is not nice. No, we just get into action. And one day, by all these consistent actions and the follow-throughs, of course, we'll become the best version of ourselves. At Leadership Speak, we do not just learn to speak well, no. We learn to lead well. We hold each other accountable. We celebrate follow-throughs, not just eloquence, no. We build leaders who match their words with action. Yes. Anyway, our president will not let you like that without putting you at action, right? So I'm proud to be in this room with all of you today. I would like to leave you with one main challenge. Please make one decision you have been delaying. Take one visible action today and complete one commitment. Yes, fulfill one commitment today and repeat it. Take all the past actions and all those beautiful ideas you have on your notebook and start going towards them. And of course, put a deadline so that you can follow through. So because leadership is not built in big moments, it's built in consistent actions. Act with purpose, execute with discipline, and lead forward. I'm sure you'll be proud of yourself because that is actually what matters. Dear Toastmaster of the day, Mary.
Thank you very much, Aminata. Your passion for the topic shown your passion for the topic shown so authentically, and you maintain strong vocal projection. So, thank you very much. The speaker know how to align with the theme right now. It's time to acknowledge your amazing guests. You're here, and that's fantastic. Hannah's dropped the guest book link in the chat. Go ahead and sign in. Tell us your story. Ask us anything, and let's see if we're the right fit for your speaking journey. We'll catch up with you when we wrap up. Thanks for being here. So now we will go to the traditional speech. So now let's bring up our first evaluator of a classic speech. What are Youselee's objectives for this project, and what specific aspect is the hoping to get feedback on today? I now invite our president, Rozy. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam TMOD. Youselee Joseph today is delivering the final speech of a persuasive influence pathway. Reflect on your path. In this speech, she will share the experience of completing this path, including the progress made, the skills learned, and developed, as well as a celebration of the achievement in a style that supports the speech content. I look forward to the speech. Back to TMOD.
Thank you very much. She said, Things are done until they are completed. Planning is good. Doing is better. Youselee Joseph, stretching my muscle, Youselee Joseph.
When I was a child, I was a coward, always crying for other children. Even in my teenage years, nothing changed regarding this aspect of my personality. So my parents decided to send me to a karate lessons. For them, it was a way to learn self-defense and to be able to fight back against those bullies. They wanted me to be brave, strong, and to know how to just throw my punches. We made this clear to my karate instructor. However, for months, I spent more than half of these 4 hours weekly training in doing one thing: stretching my muscle. Not even learn how to punch. Never. Just stretching my muscle. And every Saturday, my parents would be excited to ask me, "What have you learned today?" And me to answer with disappointment. The instructor just taught me how to stretch my muscle. And I get tired, of course, for those who know, and I couldn't even laugh or have a deep breath, but not even how to punch back. Have you ever been in this position, starting to do something and being very uncertain about the expected outcome? You can raise your hand. Thank you, Sandra. And you have to continue to do the same thing anyway, like me with my karate lesson, because my parent already paid for this class, so I couldn't miss it. So I had to go. The same thing happened to me more than 3 years ago when I chose to do the path persuasive influence. I wanted to do a path in which I will work on a high performance leadership project. Nevertheless, between the time I chose this path and today, my life has completely changed. My goals have changed. Even the club that I was part of has changed. So doing all this project was like still going to that karate class, working on my muscle and thinking that I was moving away from my initial goals. I started the project, the first level of this path, at one club, Aminata Toastmasters Club. And then I move on to another Toastmasters Club. I become member of Leadership Speak here. I move from one country to another one, from one job to another one. So it was always, everything was always changing. So for this path, I have traveled in unfamiliar territories by presenting my speeches in 5 different clubs with only strangers. And this HPL project that was so dear to me was done for people and with people that hadn't known or met before. Overall, today, I want to share with you 3 main lessons that I've learned by doing this path. The first one is to accept to be uncomfortable. Uncomfortable in several aspects. Doing things that I wasn't used to do. And uncertainty about expected result. Be uncomfortable to step out to my comfort zone. Like when I stretch my muscle for the first time. I couldn't laugh or couldn't take deep breath. I just have to keep doing it. And it will become easier over time. The second lesson that I've learned by doing this path is there are always people out there waiting to help me. When I came to Canada, I was doing this path. I didn't know anyone, and I had to do an HPL project. I didn't know anybody except Bamemon here, Gerda, just few people, but I still had to do an HPL project in the district where I don't know many people, but I have to know that I will find people that will be there to help me in my project. The first person will say no. The 10th person will say no, but the 20th one will say yes and will be there for you to help you and will be there to do unexpected thing for you for the success of the project. And the third thing, the third lesson that I've learned by doing this path is staying true to myself. Regardless of the place, regardless the circumstances, regardless of the people I am dealing with. The best gift that I can give to myself or to my growth is to remain rooted in my own values. I am Youselee Joseph. I am me. I have to stay who I am. Like when I was, and staying to myself is the best weapon. My colleague, staying true to yourself is the best weapon in this life. This is what I've learned. Like a tree in the tempest, you do not follow the wind. It did not follow the wind. It stayed rooted. And going back to my karate class or karate lesson, I've been in this class for more than a year. And I did learn few things. Nevertheless, to this day, I've never punched someone else. To this day, I still don't know how to fight back. and that bring me to a bonus lesson. In life, I have, during this path, I've learned to let go. There are things that we cannot control. There are things that I cannot control. So I have to let go. Just let go, even with my best intention. I just learn to let go. Not every fight requires punches. Not every words require response. Not every situation demands my full attention. So I let go. I fulfill my part and I have a good laugh. Have I made mistakes? Of course. I spent sleepless night to stress about some project. I prepare my speeches at the last minute, just before the presentation. For some of my presentation, they were not that good. Have I encountered difficulties? Oh, yes. Plenty of difficulties. But the lesson wouldn't be great if I didn't have those difficulties. Ultimately, I learned things in my karate class because what I was learning at the beginning didn't mean that I would not reach my goals or my expectation. It doesn't mean that stretching my muscle was not useful. Then I had the choice to punch to other people or to let go. I had the choice and I made my own choices. It's almost the same thing when we choose to become a Toastmaster. We have received materials. We have many people. We have information. And during this journey, it's up to us to decide what we want to do with all the things that we are having, whether on personal or professional aspect of our life. Today, I am completing one more path, not the last one. I feel like it's a new beginning, a new story to write. And it's time to be finally DTM. Don't you think so? So I have a few questions for you. You still have opportunity to grow at Toastmasters. It's up to you to choose how and for what. We have a world in front of us. So choose what to learn. Choose what to do. Do your own decision. Take your own decision and remain yourself. And then let's go for more. Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Youselee. It was a very persuasive speech. You connected authentically with the virtual audience through conversational tone, and your main message was unforgettable. Thank you very much. So now, let's turn to the virtual floor over to our second evaluator, Rozy Rana. So, what is Sonja looking to accomplish with this project, and why would she love to hear what you think? Without further ado, Rozy Rana.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Cusin. Sonja is delivering her Project 2 of Level 1 in her presentation mastery path. She has said to me that although this is the first time she's delivering it because she will get feedback and then re-deliver it, She wants me to look for her vocal variety as well as her engagement or connection with the audience. Thank you very much, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster, and all the best to my speaker, Sonja.
Thank you very much, Rozy Rana.
Mhm.
She's located in France, Toastmaster for 3 years, and she's very grand member of Leadership Peak. Leadership is defined by what we do, not just what we plan. Vision alone isn't enough. Action turns ideas into impact. Sonja Meindl, small steps, big results. Small steps, big results. Sonja Meindl.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. What is one goal you always wanted to achieve, but that feels insurmountable, too difficult, maybe even impossible? The following fable has been told for centuries in Chinese culture and is teaching us a powerful lesson on the enormous impact of taking consistent action, of being disciplined, and how small steps can create big results. In a remote area of China lived an old man called Yugong. He was nearly 90 years old, and his village was located at the foot of 2 colossal mountains. They stood like giant walls, blocking the road to the market, to the river, and to the neighboring towns, forcing everyone to take endless detours. One day, Yugong gathered his family and pointed at the mountains. These 2 giants are stealing our time and strength. If we work together, we can remove them and open a direct path. His sons dismissed him. How will you move such massive mountains? Where will you move and bring the earth and the rocks? We will take it to the sea. And if we don't finish, our children will continue, and one day the road will be made free. Not waiting for his son's approval, Yugong simply started. Digging, lifting stones, carrying baskets to the sea. He repeated his routine tirelessly, day after day, week after week. From the outside, it looked as if he were trying to empty the ocean with a spoon. A neighbor watched and laughed. "You're a fool. You're old and weak. Time is not on your side." Yugong was not discouraged, knowing very well that his family will continue to grow, but the 2 mountains will not. Finally, inspired by his unwavering faith, by his discipline and steady hard work, his sons followed his example and picked up the shovels. And not long after, something powerful happened. The whole village, every son and every daughter in every family, joined him in his effort, without him even asking for their support. As the seasons passed and the sound of metal striking the rocks became the heartbeat of the village, and the only thing that seems to matter to everyone. The road became wider, the detour became easier, and the insurmountable task started to shift. All began with just one man refusing to accept their fate and taking consistent action. In the fable, the story ends with the gods being so impressed by his determination that they sent 2 giants down from the heavens to help him clear the path. But here on Earth, in real life, the gods are represented by the doors that open suddenly and by opportunities that appear unexpectedly. Not because of luck, but because of action that creates momentum, and the momentum that creates support. Plans or doubts do not inspire others or move mountains, but consistent, disciplined, repeated action does. When people see action and commitment, they start to believe in you and they join your efforts. And together, what was once seemed impossible becomes achievable. Every great achievement started with a small step and a decision to act. I could tell you many examples, but let's just go with J.K. Rowling. We all know her as the author from the Harry Potter series. She was struggling as a single mother, living from paycheck to paycheck, but she wanted to become a successful writer. Despite all the difficulties she faced and the setback she experienced by being rejected 12 times by the publishers, she put her foot down, she continued to act and to write, pushing forward every single day. And now we know she has become world famous. So if she could overcome, achieve her goals, so can you. So let me ask you, what is your goal that seems like an impossible mountain in front of you, but that you really would like to achieve? Do not wait to have the perfect plan or until all the naysayers or your own doubts disappear. Take the first step, and then another, and then another. Because small steps, taken consistently, create big results. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Sonja. It was a very good demonstrative speech. Your confident delivery and well-rehearsed content showed excellent preparation. Your examples were relatable and memorable. Thanks again, Sonja Meindl. So now let's call upon our third evaluator, Rana Schmidt. What drives Vinod's vision for this project? And where does he need your voice the most? Let's hear from Rana Schmidt.
Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Vinod is going to present a speech presentation from the Path Presentation Mastery. And it is the series, it's actually not from the Path, but it's at the end, what they call the Successful Club Series. And it has not got an official evaluation form, but a guide with lots of questions that I have to answer for that. And his project is going on as Going Beyond Our Club. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Rana. Vinod Panicker, I said, ideas don't move mountains. Bulldozers do. He completely believes in action-driven leadership. Vinod Panicker, beyond the podium, turning Toastmaster into a career engine. Beyond the podium, turning Toastmaster into a career engine, Vinod Panicker.
"95% of the Toastmasters would never earn a single dollar from speaking. It is not because they don't have skills. It is because they don't go beyond the club. They don't go beyond Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, these were the words of a world champion of public speaking. In 2017, I will not name the champion. One of the champions came to United Arab Emirates for a book fair. He was launching his book. We went there, and before he spoke, there were 3 to 4 authors who gave their book launches and speeches. And after the event, while we were walking, he asked me one question. Vinod, how did you find the speeches? I looked at him and said, pathetic, horrible. I felt I was trapped inside this big convention center. He said, exactly. This is what we Toastmasters have, the superpower of speaking. All the other authors were dead boring, and across the world, it is the same scenario. But we have that superpower of speaking, but yet we confine ourselves to the walls of Toastmasters. We don't take our skills outside. Just a week later, I received a call from someone who had attended my home club meeting as a guest. And he knew that I was from a sales profession. He said, Vinod, can you help us? Our keynote speaker who was supposed to fly to Dubai has postponed it or has canceled the event. Can you be a speaker tomorrow? Without thinking anything, I just said yes. I grabbed that opportunity. And that's how my speaking career began. It was a first paid event that I got. Now, how did I speak? I don't know, because it was not a 45-minute speech. I just went on the floor and spoke for 2 hours. But I ended up with a 1-year contract of training with that company. And the first thing that I did was buy this book, Paid to Speak, because I realized speaking is a profession, and just as any profession, you need certain abilities. And from that particular day, even till today, I work on those skills. So all my dear Leadership Speak Toastmasters and guests, I am going to present something which I feel would be helpful to you. So let me share the screen, which usually I never do in this club. Yeah. Now, from the Successful Club series, what actually Toastmaster means to say in this particular slide deck is, when you are training someone new in the club, you have to tell the new members that you can be a contestant, MC, judges. I will just go through this very fast because this is not what my real content is, right? You can do all these other things. You can do all the other area, division, district, board of director, conference. You can learn to be politically savvy. Actually, you can be a real world leader and a lot of other things. But my presentation will start from here. And this is what, from 12 months from now, I would like to see most of our members giving paid speeches. And if you want to do that, there are a lot of things that is inside Toastmasters that we can do. Dr. Ralph C. Smedley had said, Toastmasters is a laboratory to conduct your experiments, right? So let's see what experiments can be done. If you want to be a professional speaker, what can you pursue in Toastmasters? You can be an accredited speaker. Now, in the last 40 years, accredited speaker I think it started in 1981. In the last 40 years, there have only been 95 accredited speakers. Accredited speaker is the gold standard in speaking, and it is very difficult to get. It's much difficult than world championship. And this is what I am requesting all of you. Let's create a group and work on this. Why? Okay, let me tell what exactly Toastmaster professional speaking and accredited speaker is. It's you need to have an expert knowledge or expertise on a particular topic and mastery of spoken words. Now, one of the best definitions of professional speaking I heard from DTM Mohammed Shukri. He is from Bahrain and he is the only accredited speaker in Middle East. He says, professional speaking is speaking about your profession. I will repeat. Professional speaking is speaking about your profession. If you have an expertise in any one particular topic or 2 or 3 topics, take that expertise and create a 45 minutes keynote speech. One of my mentors used to say, learn from people who are in your front, teach the people who are behind you. What it means is, if you are an accountant who has got 10 years experience, there may be accountants who have just started their career 1 year or 2 years. You can learn from someone who has 20 years experience and you can teach to someone who has 1 year experience. You switch the career with anything. Let it be baking cakes. Let it be nursing, healthcare, any career, any expertise that you can find that you are good at. Because I used to think professional speaking means you should be speaking only about motivation. It is not like that. DTM Mohammed Shukri spoke about safety in industries, right? There are many people who speak what they are good at. DTM Rozy can speak about how to select a good coffee, right? And the world needs keynotes like this. Mary can help people understand the importance of health. So you can speak about something that you know and you can teach it to others who are behind you. That is one thing about being an accredited speaker. Now, if you just Google how to become an accredited speaker, it will take you to this particular page on Toastmasters. There are 2 judging criteria, 2 levels, lot of things are there. I am not going to go in detail. My purpose is to push you to go beyond the club, to pursue from speaking for free to speaking for a fee. That is my whole purpose. And I want to see your name here. All of you. So who wants to be an accredited speaker? Just give me a thumbs up. Let me see. Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, the second thing. After I started speaking, one day I got a call from a training institute and they wanted to do a team building training. And this was a 1-year contract. And he asked me, Vinod, would you like to do this? I know you are currently working. I said, thank you very much for your call. I am going to resign tomorrow. And I just gave my resignation. I said bye-bye to the work and I directly jumped into training. And that was one of the best things that I ever did in my life. There was one problem. I was a speaker, but I was not a trainer. So what happened when I was training for 3 or 4 days in a straight row, my throat gave up because I was training for 5 to 6 hours. Then I thought there should be something. All the trainers in the world will have a formula. Then I started reaching out to people who were actually doing training for more than 5 years. And I started learning. Then I came to know about something called as instructional design, how adults learn, how to create modules for adult. And then I completely deep dived into it and I started learning all those things. I will not go into detail, but I'll promise you I ran a program in our district when I was a TLI chair 4 years ago, and I have a PPT which has around 50 slides. If you all stay till the end, I will share it with you. It only at the end. Now, what I wanted to share here is, if you see the Successful Club series, the Leadership Excellence series, and the Better Speaking series in Toastmasters is designed for trainers. And I am going to give you this challenge. Instead of just looking at you completing your paths and completing your project manuals, look to do, means think that 1 year I am only going to do training, or every week I am going to do a training, and see the change that will happen. In 2017, when Pathways was launched, I gave 125 Pathways presentation in 1 year. 45 minutes presentation for entire year. Every alternate days I was speaking. That changed my life. So I am giving you this challenge. What this particular series has, it's Toastmasters is a 100-year-old program. So you have ready-made manuals, you have proper slide decks, you have instructions for trainer, and you have the evaluation form. What Hannah told me, she has to answer a lot of questions. This particular club series, Going Beyond Club, at the end of the manual, there is an evaluation form which has got lot of questions. Same is done when you give a corporate training. You have to answer how you like the training, what you didn't like, and all those things. So Toastmaster has a built-in system to help you become a trainer. You can play with it. That is what I wanted to share with you. The third thing, if you want to be a consultant, now every good speaker is a problem solver. Because if you are called upon as an expert to speak on something, you are actually called on to solve a problem. Nobody calls you to feel good. You will always be paid to solve a particular problem. So you can do speaking, you can do training, as well as you can do consulting. And we have the best tool in the world called as Moments of Truth, where you identify a problem, analyze experience of the customer, then improve system based on the feedback. Someday I will elaborate it in much detail. Moments of Truth has been borrowed from this particular book by Jan Carlson. Jan Carlson single-handedly changed the fate of Scandinavian Airlines by implementing Moments of Truth. He listed out the entire interactions that any airlines has with the customers, then gave a standard that if somebody calls, it should be picked before second ring, or when you see someone, you should smile immediately. This is even used in Disney, a lot of other companies, right? When you see a customer, you smile within a second or something like that. Go to any organization. This is an exercise that I will tell you. As a Toastmaster, do your own consulting with any firm. You create your own moments of truth for them. Just observe where are they interacting with the clients, list down those 10, 20, 100, whatever moments of truth are, and give them a particular standard that this is something basically it has to be met. Now, this is for Leadership Speak members, especially. Yesterday, there were very heavy rains in United Arab Emirates. Usually, it doesn't rain. Once in a year, it rains. So there were a lot of floods and all. So I had to keep my sales meeting online. So I kept my sales meeting online, used breakout rooms for accounts, for dispatch, and after every segment, I was sending the sales people to that particular department to talk with that particular team. It went so smoothly and effectively that I added this slide for this meeting. I will tell you why. Most of the organizations in the world do not know how to conduct a proper Zoom meeting. They don't know how to brainstorm using whiteboards. they don't know how to use breakout rooms and how powerful this digital tool can be. Our Zoom masters in leadership speak are amazing consultants. Just imagine if you go out and tell the organizations that we can help you have a good team meeting. All organizations have team meetings. Imagine the power, not only Zoom, any other tool. So you can become a digital body language expert. We all are feedback consultants. Feedback is a multi-million-dollar industry and it is free. Just by being nice to someone using a sandwich method, you can improve the organizational culture or behavior of people in that particular organization. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have always believed that Toastmasters is a means to an end. An end is your personal and professional life. I challenge each and everyone sitting over here. Let's take this journey from becoming a speaker who speaks for free to a speaker who speaks for a fee. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Vinod Panicker. It was a very informative speech, and you handled the technical aspects seamlessly while delivering rich content, and your humor landed perfectly with our audience. Thank you very much. So, let me acknowledge the wonderful guests with us today. Again, first timer and returning friend alike, welcome. Check the chat for Hannah's guest book link. Sign in, tell us about yourself, and let us know if you would like to explore membership. We can't wait to connect with you after the meeting. Thanks, Anna. Our timer, Waigashinga, could you share the timing report in the Zoom chat, please? And in the meantime, Lydia Vanjiku, our Zoom master, could you share the poll to elect the best speaker, please? So now it's time to meet our general evaluator for the second main part of our meeting. She says, ideas are truly abundant all around us. They fade away quickly unless they capture your attention. As the compassionate queen of straight talk, I know ideas die without action. First, curiosity, dream, then action. Passing the baton, Sandra Walk, our general evaluator. Sandra Walk.
Thank you so much, Marie, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, doing such a great job. And here we go. I am your general evaluator today, and I'm going to welcome everyone again from whatever time you're in, morning, afternoon, and evening, and so happy to have you here. I'm going to oversee all of the evaluations that are coming up now, calling on a team of seasoned evaluators, and we're going to hear from them, and then the role players and their reports, and then I'll do an overall assessment of the meeting. Starting us off with the toast. We have Renan Ercilla going to evaluate Nkosi. And he says that to give a clear balance and specific feedback is a way that we can go into action. Renan?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good morning, good afternoon, and Good evening. I am pleased to evaluate a toast speech fulfilled with a strong core message. Leadership is not about brilliant ideas. It's about taking action. Nocawe, you opened your toast with a warm smile, which immediately set a positive tone. Your message was clear, direct, and easy to follow. You asked me to focus on the flow, confidence, vocabulary, and clarity on your toast. The flow of your toast was smooth. You started by defining what action-driven leadership means, then reinforce it by saying leaders must own their decisions. You also challenge us to take action ourselves. And your statement that movements create change tied everything together well. The progression of your speech felt natural and kept the audience engaged. While your confidence came through in the way you delivered your statements, you spoke with conviction, especially when challenging the audience to take action. To strengthen this even more, I suggest adding a stronger voice modulation during your final toast. When you ask your audience to raise the glass. Because a more elevated tone on the line would give energy. Like saying the part of to action-driven leadership. This would make your ending more compelling, powerful, and memorable to the audience. Another small improvement would be adjusting your camera angle. Raising it slightly will help avoid the downward-looking position and create a stronger visual connection with your listeners. At the part of vocabulary and the clarity, your vocabulary was simple, purposeful, and very clear. Words like action, decision, movement, and change supported the theme effectively. You express your ideas clearly without unnecessary complexity, which made your message easy to absorb. Overall, your toast was inspiring, clear, and confidently delivered. With just a few bit more vocal emphasis at the end and a small camera adjustment, I believe your future toast will be even more compelling. That's all, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Renan. I'm just going to ask here, because that felt like it was coming up very quickly on the timing. Are we actually doing 2 minutes, 2.5, and 3 minutes? It felt fast, even though
it's 30 seconds and 2 minutes for the toast evaluation.
Evaluations are 2, 2.5, and 3. I just double checked the agenda here. I think the introductions are maybe put in as short. But we, Madam Timer, we need 2, 2.5, and 3 minutes. What was the time on Renan's while we're on that little bit?
3 minutes, 28 seconds.
Yes, that sounded more like it, and he would have had a little more time. So I saw the colors coming up, and they're not feeling really good there. So if you can correct that, please, for the other speakers, the other evaluators would be great. So over to Renan. You don't really need to redo your welcome, welcoming everyone morning, afternoon, evening. I would like it that you would just get right into the evaluation because you had such a brilliant bunch of material there, well laid out. And so I would like to have your time not rushed, because you've got so much to give there. Leadership is not about brilliant ideas. When you said that, I thought, there's the start. There's the start. Get right into it, because that's powerful. And you may want to welcome Nocawe. So, rather than welcoming everybody around the world, say thank you to Nocawe for the opportunity to evaluate. That would be an appropriate opening. But I think just leadership is not brilliant ideas. It's action would have given us a really pick up your ears and listen. So I was listening as well. The examples that you gave out of there were really good. They were orderly, clearly laid out, so you fulfilled on your task there. The rest of it was when I was kind of getting into those colors, and I realized it was red when you were starting with your fixes. And I think that was when I realized, okay, something's not right here. And indeed it wasn't. You went through and gave very clear the suggestions for some improvement, and that's critical. So thank you very much, Renan, and thank you, Wahiga, for your changing your timing for us. Okay, moving next to the Toastmaster of the day. Irene Sadia is going to evaluate the Toastmaster of the day, and in her idea of the theme, she says that action means moving beyond let's go, and goes into let's start energy and focus on what truly matters, finishing what you begin. You lead by your ability to consistently close the loops and turn intent into real, reliable impact. And somehow we still have Renan up on the spotlight here. Evaluating Marie Cusin, could we please have Irene Sadia? Irene, there we go.
Thank you, Madam GE. Marie Cusin, what did you do well today? And not just today, but as you have prepared for this meeting. And so I will speak about what was done before and what was done today. So in the usual leadership speak style, you set up the WhatsApp group at least 2 weeks ago, engaged us. And I looked forward to your engagement. It was not just little words put on the WhatsApp group, but you had all these lovely emojis that were so attractive. And so made me look forward to what you were presenting. You engaged not just the speakers, but the role takers, and shared with us where we needed to go for help. And you were more than willing to assist anyone who needed help. So well done in preparing for this meeting. Your theme, action-driven leadership. You didn't just speak it, you modeled it, you practiced it. During our conversation, I knew this was a really heavy week for you at work, but you came through. You spoke to us consistently in the group. Marie, well done. Today, as the meeting began, you spoke to us and told us what every role taker you had in the meeting. You talked about your speakers, you talked about the auxiliary role takers, and there would be a toast and there would be a thought of the day. So before the meeting even began, we knew what we were in for. You had smooth transitions between one speaker to the next, between you and the next, and you clearly brought out what you heard every speaker talk about. And of course, you had very good introductions for each speaker, each role taker. Well done, Marie. What could you have done better to even elevate this meeting? I noticed at some points your energy started to dip. And so it looked like we were also dipping with you. So I would recommend just be aware, be intentional that to keep your energy levels high. Second recommendation, which was one of the things you asked me to look out for, your Zoom framing. When your energy started to dip, then I would see this kind of movement, So Marie, pay attention to that. Be very aware of that, of your intentional body movement. Overall, well-prepared speech, well-articulated theme, and you came through, you actually practiced exactly what you shared with us on this theme. Just pay attention to when your energy dips, and you are going to elevate your leadership skills even more. Thank you very much, Marie. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you so much, Irene, for that very complete evaluation. Thank you. You got right into it and addressed Irene, you got right into it and addressed Marie, which was beautifully done. You definitely you are a critical thinker. I think by nature, you are a critical thinker, and that came through very clearly. The action-driven leadership, I like how you brought that back in to remind us, because we don't always remember the title of the lead, but the theme was there and you kept it alive. You're absolutely easy to follow, and you're processing step by step. One area that I thought you might want to consider as you listen to your replay is that you brought up the energy, Marie's energy, and that was important. But you came back and you pounded into it 2 or 3 times and then kind of left it hanging at the end. So how is she to maintain energy after a heavy work week and after all the work she did? How do you actually come to another 2.5-hour meeting that you're leading and keep it? So do you have a tip for how to do that? And I think it would be critical, because you've observed it, that you and Marie have a little chat with that after as part of the feedback, and consider, whether it's just more hydration or a chance when somebody's speaking just to go off and stand up and run on the spot, or whatever you have to do to bring that energy. There was no solution for it. It was just hung out there to dry about 3 times. So it was kind of, ugh, that was the part. Other than that, you really fulfilled on a very beautiful report, because you recognized all the work she did do in behind and all the extras she put in. It's a big role, and you did a great job. Thank you so much. Okay, we are moving into our education speaker. We have Pulkit Gupta evaluating, and he wants me to focus on the analytical quality of his recommendations and commendations. And he is evaluating Aminata Kelta. Pulkit?
Thank you, General Evaluator Sandra. Aminata's speech today was knowledge in action, staying true to the embodiment of our underlying theme today, action-driven leadership. Mannerism of a speaker is what I believe is a highly underrated evaluative point. But just like leadership, where what you see inspires, in speeches as well, what you see is what you believe. And when I saw Aminata today, I believed in her, because Aminata had the right amount of confidence, the right amount of conviction, and 1,000 watt of cheerfulness. And that helped me sell her speech. Leaders demystifies. Clarity is central to leadership. And for speeches, the same tenet holds. Aminata held true to it. Her presentation had a clear structure. At the very start, she laid out expectation. And today we'll discuss 3 broad things. Why do we spend our time planning too much? What is action-driven leadership? And how do we implement action-driven leadership? As an audience member, that set the expectation right for me, and ultimately made me interested to hear and see her presentation. The third is no speech or presentation is complete without a clear purpose. And purpose comes from audience awareness. Your audiences define your purpose. Aminata stayed true to that tenet as well. She tied the entire speech towards the end to leadership speak, to leaders in this club. So as ultimately action-driven leadership crescendoed to a point where we could see how it relates to us as members and guests in leadership speak. That audience awareness was beautifully done. Let's switch gears now and go to recommendations. The very first thing you mentioned, Aminata, that leadership is about prioritization. I felt the slides could be prioritized a bit more in terms of what words to use. There was some verbosity, I believe. For example, when you were asking questions that how many of you plan too much, the same slide had a question that how many of you actually execute. So if someone is reading that slide, your question is already revealed before it even comes. The prioritization helps. Let one slide have one question. And similar towards the end, you have 3 points together. How about having 1 point in one slide? That prioritization helps. The second is there was an incoherence of words. For example, your slide had words like intention and execution, but we're using words like decision and plan. I understand verbatim regurgitation of your presentation is never good, but let your words affirm what's in your presentation. For example, if your presentation reads that intention and execution, how about you just change the word like when you execute, you are being intentional, something like that, where you are not being verbatim, but you still echo the words on your presentation instead of using different words. So that's the two recommendations on the slides bit, Aminata. Let your words echo what's on your presentation. Prioritize what's on your slides. Too much is never never better. But I feel that you had awesome mannerism, a clear structure, and your audience awareness was on point. And I wish you all the best for your future education presentations. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you. I have to say that you fulfilled on coming in with your whole delivery and your whole presentation, and who you are came in with high energy and action. We saw it right there in the entrance. You're well-spoken, your emphasis and your pace and your pauses brought your energy and your passion. So this wasn't a job to be done. It was being fulfilled on, but you also were passionate about it. You meant what you were talking about. You were excited, and that came through. It drew me right in. Now, just there's one little point where you say to see and to hear her. Excuse me, her is in the room. You're speaking to her. You're speaking to Aminata. So really, when we're giving our feedback, it's to that person. So it's to Aminata while you're still including the audience. But it's like hot seating. So to speak about her is like gossip. You're talking behind their back. So it's nice if we can remember to speak to the one that we're evaluating. You have to watch your time because you were well into the red. Your time was up, and then you started again with a summary. And I don't think we would have thought about it if you didn't come back and summarize, because you had everything clearly done. So I don't think that one of those times you'd just say that summary came in and you'd fold up your tent and go. Very well done. Thank you so much. We are now into evaluating. You see, are we on the right page here? I'm not confused. We have Holmes coming in to evaluate Youselee Joseph. And his theme says action. Action is where leaders must go. Must go. And he wants me to watch, and he wants you to watch too, for emotional connection. I'm always saying that to him. I think he's going to give it a try here. So if we could have Holmes to evaluate Youselee's speech, please. Holmes.
Youselee, I said this in my private call with you, and I'll repeat it here in front of all members and guests. You are an inspiration, and you have every right to confidently share your story with all of us to inspire us. Today, your story talked about the difficult times that you went through and how you overcome them, giving strong key takeaways for us. There were 4 that I noted down. Accept yourself and be comfortable. Be willing to, there are people that are willing to help you. Look for them. Be open to them. Stay true to yourself and learn to let go at the appropriate time. A bonus out of the 3. What I felt was well done about your speech. There were a few points. You were authentic throughout your entire speech. There were vocal varieties and a story with high and low moments always attracts the audience. And I was paying well attention to your entire speech. Some of the things that I felt you may want to look at, especially for this particular project, is that this particular project, as a reflection of a pathway, does have a requirement that the speech is somewhat like a report. So some of the content that I was listening out for includes, why did you pick this particular pathway, or why was the pathway chosen for you? How did that learning goal changed and morphed over time? And finally, upon completing the pathway together with your 5 years of experience, multiple clubs, multiple countries, how do you see yourself as a persuasive influencer? You may want to also explore, when talking about timelines and experiences over multiple years, to consider some kind of visual graphics. For example, maybe having a background or PowerPoint slide where you chart out, map out the different countries you were, or a timeline on what are you doing at the different times, so that the audience also have a better appreciation of the potential challenges and maybe also the joys of going through this pathway. All in all, Youselee, I would still say that this is a strong speech. It is a speech that you ought to have delivered, perhaps earlier, perhaps more also, so that more people can be inspired by your story, your life. In summary, this is an inspiring story that I encourage Youselee to continue to deliver, continue to refine, so that more people can gain from this story. I have given some feedback primarily related to how the project itself requires a report, and the report does have a certain structure. Aside from that, good speech, good call for a DTM, and I look forward to DTM Youselee and her future pathways. Back to GE.
Thank you, Holmes. You laid that out in a very orderly fashion. Well done. Now, I know you're curious about that emotional connection. And how did he make out? Everybody agree that there was a shift in how he did that? Hands up. Come on, let me see you. Yes, you could feel the difference. He's got a grin on his face there now as well. The grin doesn't come as easily for someone like Holmes, who's usually in a corporation giving instruction. But even in the corporation, you're going to start to connect with people if you start to let yourself enjoy what you're doing and let us see that you're enjoying it. We know that you really like what you're doing, but we don't get to see the passion. And today you started. That's not the end. I'll still be after you. Your vocal tone brought more energy, and you had that high in the low. And so you were bringing it in. When you start to watch your hand gestures, and I know this is maybe not in the evaluation itself, but if you were to raise yourself up in your Zoom a little bit more, you were standing anyhow, raise it up so we maybe see you from the waist. And then, but you had a lot of this repeated motion. Look and see what you're doing with your hands, because there were other times when it was the high and the low. So you don't always have to have a rhythm with our hands. It's a bit of a trap we fall into. You were very encouraging, you were thorough, and I believe you fulfilled very well. I could see Youselee grinning and feeling good about the evaluation, knowing that here's a speech that she can work deeper. It might even get to be an accredited speech. Thank you, Holmes. We're moving on to our next evaluator, Rana, who says, having a strategy is easy, but as a leader, execution is where I add real value. By guiding and motivating my team, ensuring the right systems, processes, technology, and resources to deliver results. That tires me out thinking of it. Evaluating Sonja Meindl, and she's asking us that we all look at the analytical quality and the ability to help the speaker meet her objectives. Over to you, Rozy.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. It's my pleasure to be evaluating Sonja's speech, Small Steps, Big Results. This speech, right from its title throughout, was powerful and consistent in its core message that small, steady steps can lead to big results and, in fact, even to the achievement of tasks that may seem unsurmountable in the beginning. She stayed true to this by using very effective storytelling. In fact, even before this storytelling, her opening where she asked us whether there was a task that was so difficult for us that we found so difficult to achieve, so in fact, almost impossible, and then moving on to the two stories. I thought the two stories were beautiful in supporting the message. First was the story of the Chinese fable of Huang, who ultimately moved mountains or removed the mountains out of the way. And secondly, J.K. Rowling, who many of us know, who took 12 rejections. I also like that she had that clear call to action at the end. She asked us what our next step is going to be after asking that same question again on that impossible task that we had. So all very clearly aligned and laid out very structurally. It was a beautiful structure. And the spine was that core message. Sonja, you wanted me to look at voice modulation or vocal variety and connection. Your voice, very clear, very easy to follow. I liked that you used dialogue because dialogue offers you many opportunities to modulate. This said, I feel you missed some opportunities. First, your opening question, your rhetoric question, and further down the repeat of that same question is a bit long. When you have a very long question, in fact, people will lose you because you said, what is that task that you find difficult, that you want to achieve, that feels impossible? I lost the words along the way. If you kept it very short, what is that goal that you have that currently feels impossible to achieve? Be categorical, be firm, pause after it. That way the question goes on a high, we can hear you. When you use dialogue again, you did try and stage it because you had the father and you looked this way. But then you also had the son and continued looking this way. And what that does is takes away that differentiation, and it also prevents you from trying to modulate or use different voices, because when you pause and then look the other direction, automatically that pause helps you use a different tone, pause and take it there. So I encourage you to try that every time you tell a story. I also encourage you at the end to be more engaging. Yes, you're asking the question, but ask us, what is that difficult task? And give examples. Perhaps it is to compete in a contest. Perhaps it is to take up an exco role. Or perhaps, like me, it is difficult to share my own story, and hence my preference to share others. What step will you take to begin it? Because it is those small, steady, consistent steps that will help you achieve it. But all in all, you've achieved your objective. You are persuasive. Just use those little elements, and I'm sure it will elevate the persuasiveness of your speech and connection with your audience, and thus fulfill your objectives. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. I'm going to say smiley today. That was so good to have you here, Rozy, and giving the evaluation. Small steps and big results. I like the way you repeated the title right at the beginning because it brings us back in because there's so much time that's been gone. I've never can't remember a time when you weren't listening critically and deeply, and you always really analyze beautifully. Always encouraging as well. Always upbeat. I've never seen anything else. You had it all listed and laid out. And it was interesting because she had it all listed and laid out, and you had it all listed and laid out as a structure. It was a repeat. You had a lot of really useful help for the call to action at the end. And the whole discussion around using dialogue and making that work for you, very important, because that makes the difference. That invites the natural vocal variety. Now, you were probably going to have to just watch a little more on your timing because you had said all of that and it was read, and then you went back in and kind of repeated yourself. And I understand it's a summary, but it had already been said so beautifully that I think you could have shortened that summary down to whatever sentence you wanted her to have for your call to action and let it go at that. Thank you so much. We now move on to our final evaluator. Hannah Schmidt says that action-driven leadership means turning my intention into consistent action that creates real impact. And Hannah is evaluating Vinod Panicker. She wants us to watch for evaluating a speech from the Successful Club series. It's new to her, and I expect it's new to all of us, so it'll be an interesting study to see how to do an evaluation of a Successful Club series presentation. Hannah?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and Vinod. Going beyond our club means extending our learning, about expanding our horizons outside the comfort of our own club meetings, taking on roles beyond the club level. That's a challenge for all of us, I think so. So, what's in it for me? I have learned about the skills and standards I must strive to achieve for my club to be successful. You opened with a scary fact. 95% will never earn a single dollar from speaking. Oh, that is really scary. Although Toastmasters has that superpower, yet we never take our skills outside of our club. Indeed, change needs to take place and we can earn megabucks. Be that 5%, Vinod, be that 5%. One requirement from this series is to have your own personal story and that you have mastered with confidence. Talking about your own story. Here, I have a challenge for you. The voice on the telephone, if the telephone was the same as your own voice, maybe change that voice from the telephone. You have all the presentation skills you have learned as a Toastmaster, including vocal variety, hand gestures, eye contact, and facial expressions. Your visual aids added interest to any or to that presentation and helped me as part of your audience retain information. Also, your letters were clearly visible and I could read them easily. There were 9 questions that I had to answer, but I'm only going to answer a few. Was the presenter adequately prepared? Absolutely. Full of confidence and connection with the audience was there, presenting us the book that brought him the standard he has achieved. Maybe we can all read that book. Just put it into the chat again, please. Another question. Was the presenter adequately prepared? Was the speech logically constructed? All questions I can answer yes. The presenter was well prepared. The content was clear, clearly structured, and delivered with confidence, indicating thoughtful planning and practice. What did I like about the presentation? Thank you, Vinod, for your impactful series that challenges us, going beyond our club and fulfilling the complete potential of our Toastmasters journey. With your title, Beyond the Podium, Turning Toastmasters into a Career Engine, challenge us to become good speakers, and that engine will from now on run full steam. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah. It was, I'm sure, quite a challenge to think about how am I going to do an evaluation of a series. And it was interesting to see you work your way through it. And I could see that Vinod was pretty content with your evaluation. I don't know if it was inspirational, but he was going along and happy to hear what you had to say. You had a thoughtful opening, heart over your hand over your heart, our club. You have become very natural with a broad variety of gestures, including the emotional and the facial. Very well done. I like that you pulled out the 97% wow to kind of drive that home to us. You came in with the voice on the telephone and then taking the 9 questions down to 3 because there's no way you could do it all. So you really did a beautiful job of condensing what had to be done. And I'm sure you'll give a full review over to Vinod. But you did a really great job at condensing it and keeping it into the time. We'll see how this series challenge has gone between the two of you, which is really great. 2 lead examples, and I'd say fulfilled. Thank you. All righty, Wahiga, our timer, would you please post the times of the evaluations in the chat? I need to open my chat there. Would be beautiful. Now, there we are. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Zoom Master, can you please launch the poll for the best evaluator? If you need to, a screenshot can go off. Alrighty, I'm going to, whoever's grammarian is going to be catching all my alrighties today. I seem to be an alrighty girl today. Grammarian, Gilda, we're going to hear from you now. Whoops, grammarian, Gilda, grammarian Ray, no, it's Gilda. This little sheet hasn't got the right names in there.
Great, thank you, General
Gilda,
Evaluator.
you've been listening in here to all of the proper language, and we're going to hear from you your report for improvement and use of the word and so on. Over to you. How could we do better?
Thank you, thank you. Everybody did excellent. The word of the day was used 8 times. The 8 times that I noticed, listened to, and I recorded it. It was used by our Toastmaster of the day, Marie, and our educational speaker, Aminata, Keita, 3 times, speaker Youselee once, and our general evaluator 3 times so far. About the grammar, actually, there weren't anything that I could notice except 2 things I would like to suggest to everybody we could always replace the so with a pause. I heard speakers say many, so. So if we replace them, or at least some of them with a pause, that would be wonderful. And when we're talking about the present time, keep it in the present time. Don't change it to past or third particular participant time. These are the only things. I listened so many outstanding words. From our Toastmaster of the Day, Mary, leaders do not wait. They fulfill their mission with action. Our Sergeant at Arms, she said, living definition of leadership. I like that. And our educational speaker, Aminata, the silent gap is a dangerous gap. Clarity leads speed. People don't follow title, they follow behavior. One of our evaluator, Rozy, she wrote in the chat box, quoting John Maxwell, procrastination is the fertilizer of problem. Youselee, no, not Youselee, sorry, Sonja, emptying the ocean with a spoon. Vinod, professional speaking is about speaking about your profession, and many, many more. But that's all, and I'm back, like to give it back to our general evaluator.
Thank you so much. Wonderful report. You've certainly fulfilled on your role. And I want to congratulate you on working with the theme, with your Toastmaster of the Day and your education speaker to come up with the word and carry it through. And I want to say a word of thanks here also for our timer. It is a challenging role because there's always so many interesting things to do, and I want to listen, and then I have the time. And so thank you so much, Wahega. I guess that's over to me. My impression of the whole meeting. I'm so pleased. Oops, I put my notes away there. The greeters were right on time. Nellie Jane Galita, and the meeting started on time with Gerda. It was beautifully done. Behind the scenes, so well organized. I know, Maria, you've already been evaluated, so I won't go there, but there has been a lot of work went on in behind the scenes and a lot of encouraging and hand-holding, and it's a big job, but it's worth doing it. So congratulations, Marie. The theme was excellent, and I like the way that I expect when it came together so well that you as Toastmaster and Aminata as the speaker worked together to come up with a theme that Aminata could speak to and bring it forward as well. That was, to me, a matched, enthusiastic duo is what I wrote down. Well done with that. Action-driven leadership is very apropos for our club. And I do believe that every one of us has stepped into our enthusiasm for it being a leadership club and focusing on leadership. I love the presentations. I really appreciate how well prepared everyone comes. Even though you're going to do an evaluation and you haven't heard the speech yet, there's a preparation that comes to get yourself in the mindset and be looking for this, looking for that, and collecting introductions and so on. I want to thank everyone for a wonderful meeting. And I think with that, I shall hand it back over to our Toastmaster of the Day, Marie.
Thank you very much, Sandra Rooks. You are a so good general evaluator. So now direct your attention to our role player, Toast of the Day, Joyce Gibbs. She's a banker, mentor. She believes in leaders who lead from the front. They just don't say. They just
yes.
yes. Is well, no. They just don't say. They show by example. Let's hear from our Joyce Kibe.
Leadership is not defined by titles or positions. It is defined by action. True leaders inspire by doing, not just by speaking. Every decision, every step, and every initiative we do as leaders, it becomes a ripple that influences others. Action-driven leaders means moving beyond intention into execution and turning vision into reality and showing courage when it matters most. Leadership is not defined by intention, but by execution. Our education speaker today reminded us that leaders need to decide and prioritize. As we can relate, many of us, every single day, we have a lot on our desk. And what are we doing? We need to learn the aspect of saying no, but in a polite way. Leading by visible behavior, it's also another aspect that we need to think, even as you're leading in action. As a leader in my community club, I introduced a kitty that we are trying to build on. Personally, I also encouraged EXCO members, we need to be contributing monthly, because if we do not do that and people do not see it, then they will not be able to do it. So we need to lead by visible behavior. We also need to follow through on things that we are projecting and things that we want people to do them. Every commitment builds momentum, performance improves, and culture shifts. If you do not follow through what you have introduced, people will forget and revert back to how they used to do things. So today, let us remember that impact is not created by what we plan to do, but by what we actually do. Leadership is not just a name, it lives in our actions. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Joyce. So now let's move on to the results of the vote cast by our audience and our international club. And thank you to my team who showed great flexibility by taking on several roles again this time, like Joyce and Hannah at the last minute. So shall we embrace the result? What suspense!
PR Master, if the results are ready, can we have the results? PR Master.
Wow! Often the same. Well done, Rozy, Rana, and Vinod, Panicker. It's not a surprise, but thank you very much for your participation, and you are our model. So, I invite our president to speak with our guest from Steng.
Thank you so much, TMOD. To guests, I will call upon some of you. If it is convenient for you, I highly encourage you to turn on both your camera as well as your microphone so we can have a conversation. Rhonda Young, are you available?
I am.
Hello, Rhonda. So happy to
Hello.
have you here. How do you find the meeting? Any suggestions for us? Share with us.
I especially love this meeting. This is not my first time here. I've been a visitor once or twice before. I love the professionalism. I love the diligence in which you guide each member and guest through the meeting. I love the substance and gravitas of the messages that I've heard. I love especially the demonstration of not just leadership, but the communication skills. Well done. I don't have any opportunities for improvement for you, for any of you, any of the speakers, the officers, and the guests, other than this is a great way to start off my Saturday.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. It's our pleasure to have you here. It's our honor to have you here. Whenever you're available, please come and visit us.
Will do.
Thank you so much. Pranbury Wang, are you available to speak with us? Pranbury Wang.
Hello, Sadia. Hello,
Hello,
Holmes.
Pranbury.
Today I come to our club for the first time, and I feel something I didn't looking for a long time. I think our presentation, our performance is very stable. It's very like a hard road. Is when you step on it, you feel very safe, very happy. And I think something our members, our speakers, evaluators performs is about behaviors, about learn, about how to make leadership really work. And I see everyone is working on it. I think this is something very inspires me, and I think everyone attend this meeting will be inspired. I think it is very cool, and it is very useful, really valuable for our real life. And I was so admire about this, and so happy to hear. And I hope maybe I can come to here again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Pranbury, for joining us from Harbin, China. It's a pleasure to be in the same Toastmasters club with you again. And definitely, whenever you're available, come and visit us. And also share with us how we can also serve you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward. Vaseline Mirrod. Vaseline Mirrod, are you available? Hello. Hi, you're muted, Vaseline. Share with us. How do you feel about the meeting?
I was out for a medical appointment. So it's my first time here, but I was invited by Toastmaster Youselee, member, and I'm at his club, yeah. And I will say it was nice to meet the session. It was helpful because they talk about leadership. They also talk about some, I will say, mindful subjects, which is good, especially, I will say, to turn plan into action. So it was, I will say, awesome.
Thank you so much, Vaseline, and thank you, Youselee, for inviting many of your friends to visit us. Vaseline, yes, anytime you're available, we welcome you to continue visiting us. And in the event one day you want to join us, Youselee knows what to do. Thank you so much. With that, I'd like to hand over the time back to the TMOD. The TMOD will be concluding the meeting as well as leading a post-meeting discussion. Madam TMOD, please.
Yes. Thank you, President. Dear member and guests, today we didn't just talk about leadership. We saw it in action, and that is what action-driven leadership is all about. Showing up, stepping forward, and doing the work. If you are a guest and would like to join our club, please don't hesitate to talk to us. This is a place where you can truly fulfill your potential as a speaker and as a leader. Thank you all for this wonderful meeting. When you embrace action-driven leadership, you're not losing control. You're choosing to fulfill your organization's greatest possibilities and multiplying its potential in ways you haven't yet imagined. Best wishes to all, and I now declare this meeting adjourned.